So Bobby Watson died.
My God, the poor man, when did he die?
Why do you pretend to be so astonished? You know very well he died 2 years ago. Surely you remember we attended his funeral a year and a half ago.
Oh, yeah. I do remember. I remembered it right away. I just don't understand why you're so surprised to see it in the newspaper.
I didn't see it in the paper. His death was announced 3 years ago. I remembered it by an association of ideas.
What a pity. It was so well preserved.
He was the handsomest corpse in Great Britain. He didn't look his age.
No.
Oh, poor Bobby, he'd been dead for 4 years, still warm, a veritable living corpse. How cheerful he was.
Poor Bobby.
Which poor Bobby do you mean?
Well, it's his wife, I mean. She would call Bobby too. Bobby Watson. Since they both had the same name, you could never tell one from the other when they were together. It's only after his death that you can really tell which were which. You know, there were still those who confuse her with the deceased and offer their condolences to him. Do you know her?
I met her once by chance at Bobby's burial.
I've never met her. Is she pretty?
She has regular features, but one can't say she's pretty. She's too stout and too big. She doesn't have regular features, and yet one can say she's very pretty. She is too small, too thin. She's a voice teacher.
When do they plan to marry those two?
Next spring at the latest.
Ugh. We shall have to go to the wedding, I suppose.
We'll have to buy them a wedding present. I wonder what.
Why don't we give them one of them 7 silver salvers? Bought for us for our wedding. They've never been of any use to us. How sad to be left a widow so young.
Fortunately, they had no children.
That's all they needed. Children. However could she have managed?
She's still young. She might very well remarry. She looks very well in mourning.
Yeah, but who take care of the children? You know very well they have a boy and a girl. What are the names again?
Bobby and Bobby, like their parents. Old Bobby Watson, Bobby Watson's uncle, is a rich man, quite fond of the boy. Perhaps he'll provide for young Bobby's education.
Well, that would be proper. And then in return, old Bobby Watson's aunt, could pay for the education of Bobby Watson's daughter. That way Bobby Watson's mother, could remarry. Is anyone in mind?
Yes, cousin of Bobby Watson's.
Who? Bobby Watson?
Which Bobby Watson do you mean?
I mean Bobby Watson, the son of the old Bobby Watson, the late Bobby Watson's other uncle.
No, it's not that one, it's someone else. It's the son of Bobby Watson, old Bobby Watson, the late Bobby Watson's aunt.
Oh. Are you referring to Bobby Watson, the commercial traveller?
All the Bobby Watsons are commercial travellers.
What a difficult trade. However, they do very well at it.
When there's no competition.
When is there no competition?
On Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Tuesdays.
Huh? 3 days a week? What does Bobby Watson do when there's no competition?
He rests. He sleeps.
Well, why don't you work when there's no competition?
Oh, I don't know everything. I can't answer all your idiotic questions.
Are you trying to humiliate me?
You know very well I'm not.
Men, you're all alike. You sit there all day long with a cigarette in your mouth, or you're powdering your nose and rouging your lips 50 times a day, or else you drink like a fish.
And what would you say if men acted like women do? Smoking cigarettes, rouging and powdering and drinking whiskey.
Well, it's nothing to me. And if you're only saying that to annoy me, well, I don't care for that kind of joking, you know very well.
Oh, my little ducky daddles. What a little spitfire you are. You know I only said it as a joke. You know, what a ridiculous pair of old lovers we are. Come, let's put out the lights.
Whee!
Go bye-bye.
I am the maid. I have spent a very pleasant afternoon. I went to the cinema with a man. And we saw a film with some women. After the cinema, we had brandy and milk, and then I read the newspaper.
I hope you have had a pleasant afternoon, that you went to the cinema with a man and you had some brandy with milk.
And the paper.
Mr. and Mrs. Martin, your guests, are at the door. They didn't dare come in by themselves. They were waiting for me. They were supposed to have dinner with you tonight.
Oh yeah, we were expecting them, but we were hungry, and since they didn't make an appearance, we thought we'd start dinner without them. We've had nothing to eat all day. You should not have gone out.
But it was you who gave me permission.
We didn't do it on purpose.
I bought me a chamber pot.
My dear Mary, will you go and ask Mr. and Mrs. Martin to step inside? We'll go change quickly.
Come in! Why have you come so late? You're not very polite, huh? People should be punctual. Well, okay, sit down there anyway now that you're here and wait.
Excuse me, madam, but it seems to me, unless I'm mistaken, that I've met you somewhere before.
I do, sir. Seems to me that I've met you somewhere before, too.
Was it, by any chance, at Manchester that I caught a glimpse of you?
It is certainly possible. I am originally from the city of Manchester, but I don't have a good memory, sir. I cannot say whether it was there that I caught a glimpse of you or not.
Oh, good God! How curious! I too, madam, am originally From the city of Manchester.
That is curious.
Isn't that curious? Only madam, I left the city of Manchester about 5 weeks ago.
How curious. How very bizarre. I too, sir. I left the city of Manchester about 5 weeks ago.
Madam, I took the 8:30 morning train, which arrives in London at 4:45.
How curious it is. How bizarre. And what a coincidence. I too, sir. I took the same train.
Good Lord, how curious that is. Perhaps it was on the train that I saw you, madam.
It is very possible, but I don't recall it, sir.
I traveled second class, madam. There is no second class in England, but I traveled second class.
How curious it is. How bizarre. What a coincidence. I too, sir. I traveled second class.
Oh, how curious it is, and what a coincidence. Perhaps we did meet in second class, dear lady.
It is certainly possible, but I do not recall it, dear sir.
I had a seat. My seat was in coach number 8, compartment 6, my dear lady.
Good Lord. My seat was also in coach number 8, compartment 6, my dear sir.
Isn't that curious? Perhaps we did meet in compartment 6, dear lady.
It is certainly possible, but I'm not at all sure of it, sir.
To tell the truth, my dear lady, I do not remember it either. But it is possible that we saw each other there, and as I think of it, it seems to me even very likely.
Truly. Yes, truly, sir.
How curious it is. I had a seat number 3 next to the window, dear lady.
Good Lord. How curious it is. How bizarre. And what a coincidence. I had seat number 6 next to the window, across from you, my dear sir.
How curious it is, how bizarre, and what a coincidence. We were then seated facing each other, dear lady. It is there that we must have seen each other.
It is indeed possible, but I don't recall it.
To tell the truth, my dear lady, I do not remember it either. However, it is very possible that we saw each other on that occasion.
It is very possible, but I do not recall it, sir.
Dear lady, were you not the lady who asked me to put her suitcase in the luggage rack, and who thanked me, and who gave me permission to smoke?
But of course, that must have been I. How curious it is. How curious it is, and what a coincidence.
How curious it is, and what a coincidence. And, well then, perhaps it was at that moment that we came to know each other.
It is certainly possible, but I don't recall it, sir.
Nor do I, madam. Since coming to London, I have resided in Bromfield Street, my dear lady.
How curious it is! How bizarre! Since coming to London, I too have resided in Bromfield Street, my dear sir.
How curious that is, and well then, perhaps we have seen each other in Bromfield Street, dear lady.
It is certainly possible, sir, but I do not recall it.
I reside at number 19, my dear lady.
How curious it is. I also reside at number 19, my dear sir.
Oh, well then, perhaps we have seen each other in that house, dear lady?
It is certainly possible, but I don't recall it, my dear sir.
My flat is on the 5th floor, number 8, my dear lady.
How curious it is. How very bizarre, and what a coincidence. I also reside on the 5th floor, flat number 8, my dear sir.
How curious it is! How curious it is! How curious it is! And what a coincidence! You know, in my bedroom, there is a bed, and it is covered with a green eiderdown, and this room with the bed and the eiderdown is located at the end of the corridor between the WC and the bookcase. Dear lady.
How curious it is! How bizarre! And what a coincidence! My bed, too, has a green eiderdown, and is at the end of the corridor between the WC, dear sir, and the bookcase.
How bizarre, curious, strange. Then, madam, we live in the same room, and we sleep in the same bed. It is perhaps there that we have met.
It is indeed possible, and perhaps even last night. But I don't recall it, my dear sir.
I have a little girl, my little daughter. She lives with me. She's 2 years old. She's blonde. She has a white eye and a red eye. She's very pretty. Her name is Alice, dear lady.
How curious it is. How bizarre. I, too, have a little girl. She is 2 years old. She has a white eye and a red eye. She's very pretty, and her name is Alice, too, sir.
How curious it is, and what a coincidence. And bizarre. Perhaps they are the same, dear lady.
That is very possible, sir.
Then, dear lady, I believe that there can be no doubt about it. We have seen each other before, and you are my own wife. Elizabeth, I found you again.
Donald, it's you, darling!
Elizabeth and Donald are now too happy to be able to hear me. I can therefore let you in on a little secret. Elizabeth is not Elizabeth. Donald is not Donald, and here is the proof. The child that Donald spoke of is not Elizabeth's daughter. They are not the same person. Donald's child has a white eye and a red eye, like Elizabeth's daughter. But whereas Donald's child has a white right eye and a red left eye, Elizabeth's daughter has a red right eye and a white left eye. Ah! Thus, all of Donald's system of deduction collapses when it comes against this last obstacle, which destroys his whole theory. In spite of extraordinary coincidences which seem to be definitive proof, Donald and Elizabeth, not being the parents of the same child, are not Donald and Elizabeth. But who is the true Donald? Who is the true Elizabeth? I don't know. Let's not try to know. Let's leave things exactly as they are. My true name is Sherlock Holmes.
Darling, let's forget all that has not passed between us. And now that we have found each other again, let's try not to lose each other anymore and live as before.
Yes, darling!
Good evening, dear friends. Please forgive us for having made you wait so long. We thought we should extend to you the courtesy to which you are entitled. And on learning that you've been kind enough to give us the pleasure of coming to see us without prior notice, we hurried to dress for the occasion.
We have had nothing to eat all day, and we've been waiting 4 whole hours for you. Why have you come so late?
Oh, but definitely.
We all have colds.
Nevertheless, it's not chilly.
There's no draft.
Oh no, fortunately.
Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear.
Don't you feel well?
No, he's wet his pants.
Sir, at your age, you shouldn't.
The heart is ageless.
That's true.
So they say.
They also say the opposite.
The truth lies somewhere between the two.
That's true.
Since you both travel so much, you must have many interesting things to tell us.
Well, tell us what you've seen today, my dear.
Oh, well, it's scarcely worth the trouble, for I'm sure no one would believe me.
No, we won't question your sincerity.
Yeah? You'll offend us if you think like that.
You will offend them, my dear, if you think that.
Well, today I witnessed something extraordinary, something really incredible.
But tell us quickly, my dear.
Oh, this is going to be amusing.
Yeah, at last.
Well, today, when I went shopping to buy some vegetables, which are getting to be dearer and dearer and dearer and dearer and dearer.
Oh, where is it all going to end?
Don't interrupt, my dear. It's quite rude.
In the street, near a cafe, I saw a man, properly dressed, about 50 years old, or not even that, who
Who what?
Who what?
Don't interrupt, my dear. You're disgusting.
My dear, it was you who interrupted first, you boa.
Hush. What was this man doing?
Well, I'm sure you'll say I'm making it up. He was down on one knee, and he was bent over.
Oh!
Yes, bent over.
Not possible.
Yes, bent over. I went over to see what he was doing.
And?
He was tying his shoelace, which had come undone.
Fantastic!
If I'd heard it from anyone else, I'd not have believed it.
Oh, why not? One sees things even more extraordinary when one walks around. For instance, today, in the underground, I myself saw a man quietly sitting on a seat, reading his newspaper.
What a character!
Perhaps it was the same man. Goodness, someone is ringing.
There must be somebody there. I'll go see. Nobody?
I'll give you another example.
Goodness, someone is ringing.
There must be somebody there. I'll go see.
You're going to give us another example.
Oh, yes!
Goodness, someone is ringing.
Oh, not going to open that door again.
Yes, but there must be someone there.
The first time there were nobody, the second time there were nobody. What makes you think there's somebody there now?
Because someone has rung.
Well, that's no reason.
What? When one hears the doorbell ring, that means someone is at the door ringing to have the door opened.
Well, not always. You've just seen otherwise.
In most cases, yes.
As for me, when I go to visit someone, I ring the door and no one's been admitted. I think everyone does the same, and so each time you hear a ring, it's because there's someone there.
That's true in theory, but in reality, things happen differently. You've just seen otherwise.
Your wife is right.
Oh, you women. You always stand up for each other.
Fine. I'll go see. You can't say that I'm obstinate. But you'll see, there's nobody there. You see, there's nobody there. These men, who always think that they're right, and who are always wrong.
My husband.
Goodness, someone is ringing.
Don't send me to open that door again. You've seen that it were useless. Experience teaches us that when one hears the doorbell ringing, it is because there is never anybody there.
Never.
Oh, that's not entirely accurate.
In fact, it's false. When one hears the doorbell ring, it's because there's someone there.
He won't admit he's wrong.
He's very obstinate too.
Someone is at the door.
Oh, that's not impossible.
No.
Yes.
I tell you, no. And in any case, you're not going to bother me again. If you wish to know, go and look yourself.
I'll go.
I'll go.
I'll go.
I'll go.
It wouldn't be appropriate if we didn't finish with a special round of applause for our co-directors tonight. And here are Michael Allman and Neville Piles.